AusLAMP means Australia, and lamp, lamp as in illumination. So it's about trying to illuminate the crust and the mantle down to about 200, 250 kilometres. We know that Australia is split from Antarctica, but we don't know some of the details of how Australia itself, as we see it today, has actually joined together, because a lot of it's covered. We're trying to base our research on sort of geological elements so that when we do our modelling, to start with, we can start to see how all things put together. We've got a permanent team of about 3 people, which is supplemented by up to 2 or 3 people per time, because obviously people have family commitments and things like that. We're the 3 main people in Adelaide University, and other people will come out at various times for part of training and also for education purposes, and also just to help us with the work. We've worked from the coast up to the Ambadel. Obviously, as we get closer to the coast, a lot of that country is accessible by car, and it's very economical for us to go out in a couple of vehicles, carry the equipment, deploy the equipment on properties, obviously talking to the landowners beforehand and getting a permission. Firstly, thank you for letting me come on your country. It's a very nice country. We've been around lots of your area, around Warburton to the east, the west. What we're doing here today is we're going to put in one of those boxes on the ground that will pick up signal that's coming through the ground from very deep down, coming up, and it tells us about what the rock's like. We see the mountains over there, we see rock there, they go very deep down. The signal that's coming is actually sort of a current. It's from lightning strikes from, say, Darwin, Alice Springs, maybe Broome, maybe Indonesia. That lightning hits the ground and it goes deep into the ground, goes through the ground, and then comes up all around. And we just put the equipment at various spots to pick up that signal, and it tells us how conductive the rocks are. And in addition to these electric currents generated by lightning strikes, and actually more important to us for recording data from really deep in the earth, are recording electric currents generated by solar winds coming all the way from the sun and hitting the earth and creating small changes in the earth's magnetic field, which in turn create changes in the electrical currents deep in the earth. What we're doing is we're putting one of these every 50 kilometres. So 50 kilometres to east, 50 kilometres to north, south, all around this area here, and then into South Australia to the New South Wales border. We're doing that this year. We've already done the rest of South Australia and Victoria, and over the next 5 years, 10 years, we're going to do the whole of Australia, because we know that some areas are very significant for you, and we don't want to go into those sites. We want to go sites where you're happy for us to put some equipment. And then in 3 weeks' time, we'll come back and we'll pick the equipment up and we'll take the data back to the university. So is all okay? Paya?
Yes, we understand.
Paya? This is one of the boxes we put on the ground. The box sits on the ground. Colleague Jeff, he's going to help me, and colleague Anne. Here is the box. The data gets recorded on here, and then the information comes through these 2 cables, through the cables, into the box here, and then we attach cables from here that come out into the box and out onto the ground. One foot on the tape. That's it, so it doesn't stretch. That's it. And you look south. That's it. And see when it moves, and tell him to go left or right. Tell him left. That way. Keep going. And he'll then go out 50 metres, and he'll look at the numbers on the tape and he'll stop. You just have to keep him in the right line. Yep, that's good.
Through the hole in the front there.
And then plug it into there.
There for 3 weeks. All the boxes we've been picked up, they've all been paya.
What we do now is we put the cable in the trench, like this, like that. And then if you walk along, and you can just cover it over. We often cover the cable because touching it with our hands, there's always a bit of oil. We use a bit of water to put it in, so they can, if it's very dry, they smell the water. So dingoes, camels, in other parts of South Australia or WA we've been, you might get sort of cattle or sheep, rabbits sometimes. It depends what's around. Even little mice or rats can come through and nibble it. We'll finish digging this trench in a minute, but what we do is we put what we call an electrode at the end of this wire, and we put one at the other end, and that then just allows us to measure the change in the current. We've got the trench, and we're going to now then dig a little hole to put the electrode in. You just have to watch it doesn't go in our eyes. That's in the ground. It's almost it's almost that deep. But if it gets very hard, what we'll do is we'll just put a bit of soil back in, and we take the cap off. We get some water.
You want water now?
Yes, please. So this is now attached. So we put this in the ground. We just wiggle it in a little bit, and then we cover it over. And we'll get a bit more soil, and we'll cover that over so the animals won't eat it. We'll go and do 2 more. This is a nice time of the day to do it because the sun's just going down, so it's not very hot. Because we've got the 2 angles, we can pick up which way the electrical field's coming. This is a magnetometer. It's in a plastic case. Just dig it into the ground, again to protect it so it doesn't get very hot. If you carry that out to Jeff, and again if it gets too hard, we can actually mound it up a little bit as well. So often when we come out first time, if we can find a nice sandy area, that's good. Yeah, that red line points to north. We're just going to rotate this so it's pointing exactly north, and we're going to put a bubble on it until it's just nice and perfect. Put soil, and we bury it. That keeps it a bit cool in the hot days, and also stops it moving around. We want to keep it very still. We can attach those wires to it, and we can start looking at some of the results coming through. We now need to get this powered because it's going to be writing data for 3 weeks. So we have a battery, car battery, which goes inside. Inside the box, which we will attach to there in a second. And then we have a solar panel. So as the sun comes up, it will then keep the battery charged for 3 weeks, otherwise the battery will go flat. So this can stay here for 3 weeks or 3 months if we want to, and it will just keep recording the data. It gets attached up here, so the solar panel, the magnetometer, the 3 electrodes. We put a little bit of rubber around it to stop spiders and snakes getting in. We start the recorder, we check it's all okay, we close it up. Just put a couple of sticks here, just to stop camels perhaps coming in through here. Well, thank you very much for allowing us to do this and helping us put it in. It's really good. We've got 25 of these boxes and all spread out. Thank you.
You have an acquisition light here, and then you have a GPS light, and if they blink every second, then you know that the instrument is still working. And we have satellites, at least 3 satellites. So all is good.
The box saying it's all good. It went all right.
Look at this, maybe more corrosion on that.
Does it like rewrite out of the ground?
So they turned off the instruments, so disconnecting all the cables and going to remove the data, which is stored on the same type of hard drive that you use in the computer.
Oh, you put the end where they put it in the...
Yeah, digging up the magnetometer, that is a sensor that measures Earth's magnetic field. We would like to be back one day, so I better do the right thing.
We can't be sure until we process the data, really. Yeah. But it looks good. I guess this is what the site looks like when we finished. It's pretty much how we found it.
Yeah, we're just having a lunch. Never came on the first trip, I just came in there. They're learning a little bit.
Yo pala. Yo pala jadi mana? Pala ada bakul itu kan? Kalau ada apa tu? Pala. Ada yang gua lakukan doang kan? Kau nak iyarin kau doang kan? Kau jangan aku iyarin.
But as we're getting more into the remote areas, the number of roads are fewer and far between, and the time taken to go to any site is longer and obviously more dangerous because you can get flat tyres and get caught. So it becomes more economical to then start using helicopters. So we like to work with one or two vehicles, one being a four-wheel drive truck that carry a lot of the load because we have a lot of batteries and obviously fuel. That is sort of the backbone of the work. It goes along the tracks, deploying where we can along the tracks, and allows us to take traditional owners out as well. And then where the sites are more remote, we then use the helicopter to go out to those remote sites with one or two traditional owners, deploy those sites and then come back. So like a cloverleaf off the main the route we're going.
We're looking for two flashing lights. Yeah, you can put electrodes up there. It's all good, everything's okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Ngalangayo ko tamo ko na ngora. Mama ko kamo ko ngora kapali ngora. Terswana pitang. Nako kita make sure kita away from the sacred sites. Pala kita jadi tono ya testing randa. Ako lang ta. Tawara ya marutan ta chupa. Waya tun kulanta. Tawara ya waya tun kulanta. Ngalom. Ngana tun ya nabe. When we get to speak up, we vote. Habitaran ya pulkan ni maratara. Waral pulkan habitaran talo. Ni mara rungkaran nangka. Tat ni mara na electricity tarpa mandawana. Tarpa mandawana. Kau sanda nita grand electricity. Ka pala pala na pitan purin bitar pal mandang pitan. Ka ako coba ngana pulkan rungkan jana yapung ka yapuan alo rungkan jana. Purin para pitan electricity yapuana. Yapuana pulkan awana. He with the hillsa. Nga ini marakat na hatara kagana mandakat na welcome no tarpa rungkar tarpa talo wala porque mawi jani kanin tara mandawana pare na ke pitang alo pada wan anda na kolanda ana pitang ko lo kwar na kutara taro chapa ko tara lo to na mandino para ko lo to nang maranga na mandino lo to nina kada lo to yora ton ko na box mala ko lo box naranga Yora dong kaya brin malakolod. Kade kita lo. Malako ranges ko. Anam narkal nga pilkira ngoro ko tara pilangka pila kolongka.
If you look through that, you can hold it and you'll see a line that you have to line up, and it's, can you see 200 degrees?
Yes.
That is where we'd have to put our electrode out 50 metres. Just by having really accurate measurements when it comes to processing the data will lead to accurate data in the end.
A part of South Australian AusLAMP, we had good discussions with the Department of Geology at Adelaide University about the process of getting permission to work on people's land. That varies because there are obviously a number of permissions required. Adelaide University wants to ensure that we actually get all the right permissions to get the approvals from the various people as we're up here in Nalangara lands, going out with traditional owners. Everyone so far has been very happy with what we're doing, enjoying getting out into the country. One of the things I'm finding very pleasing about what South Australia is doing here is we're actually starting in the centre part of Australia and working out to where the populated areas are. So it's often a reverse of often how science is done. So we're getting to understand that the really core part of Australia, the central part of Australia, and then working out.